Hey folks, part two. Still here on the farm. Just trying to do a little bit of, walking around, orienting people. I'll be spending a lot of time here, hopefully. And there's a lot to be done. So a lot of it may not be in pots, but it'll still be kind of bonsai related. Alrighty, welcome to my Bonsaiverse again. Sorry, did a horrible transition for my pause there. So here's another one of the nice trees. I think it's just so inspiring. I don't even remember what this is. Might be a maple, but it's a really good size and shape. And look at all this branching. This is not something I did. This is just, I got a stick in it. Ugh. Get that. Ugh. I think it's a Bonsaiverse stick. Now this isn't like perfect bonsai form. I get it. But man, if this doesn't have the coolest, wiggliest, everything branches, it might be an oak. I think people could probably tell me by looking at those buds, but love it. It's just a great tree. And there's stuff all around it. In fact, right there, there's another cherry, giant cherry reaching up. Doesn't quite have the low down branching the one down the field did, but very cool. Some, Bonsaiverse berries, maples, all that. Horses down the field there. Now, right here is a pear tree, really tall. I'm going to be topping that. Next to it here, the little split trunk guy, that is also a pear tree, but it's a very small, very bitter, thin skin, but hard flesh pear. This one is basically there as the female to the male or vice versa, so they can propagate and not propagate, but bear fruit. They wouldn't bear fruit without a different one on the property. So these two do a very good job. These are beautiful, delicious pears. They're not quite your typical Asian pear. And I got the little stump here. That's a crab apple that's growing back. This is one of my bigger apple trees. Really does a good job. But right there, sorry. Did a little pruning on that, but not much. This one needs some more pruning. It's got some dead stuff in it. This bigger one closer. You can kind of see the shadow there. Right behind that, I did a teeny tiny bit of pruning. And there's two right in here. Yeah, there's two. Sorry, 1 and 2. Those two. They got some pruning this year, but not a lot. Same with this little guy here. My really cool slant trees over there, I'll go a little closer to that. Then here I've just got maple, cherry, and a couple hawthorn. But up in here, you can't see all of them from here. In this whole area, because it's been logged pretty heavily, immorally, I would say, unethically. This is before we came back into the property. There's some little pines, stuff like that, and we've planted persimmon and Osage orange in here to try to fill in. They won't necessarily get super tall all the time. Persimmon do pretty good being tall, but you can see this is supposed to be forested. It's like a clearing. On the other side, you can see there's kind of a field on the other side there. That is a meadow. It's being very well cared for and developed by our neighbor here. He loves the wild meadow, so he's doing a very good job of keeping that and trying to keep it native and all that. Here's another little, these are all younger trees. They weren't here when I was younger at all. So the tree line was basically back where these guys were, and this was all clear. This has all been worked previously in the last however many 100 years. This tree may have been here, but I don't think so. This is an oak, and it's grown really fast. So I will leave this one, of course, but a lot of these will get thinned out to allow bigger ones like that to grow. These wobbly ones back here will probably end up coming out. This one, it's got a really cool shape to it. I'd like to try to get it cut back closer to here and see if it develops as a shorter tree. Get some really good taper. This one's got great branching on it down low, so I might try to leave that one too, even though they're kind of close together. And then over here, I'll probably take out the smaller one, leave the bigger one, give it room to grow. It's growing really nicely. And then this will be more of the field versus being closed off like these are branches that broken off. There's a lot of dead stuff in here. But the goal is to have it so we have a little more space back here. And under that pile of snow there, some more compost. So that helps us as well. You can see there's still more trees that have been coming down, big old stumps in there. Like that's one stump from a triple trunk tree. There's an even bigger one back in here you can barely see. Huge trees in here, but a lot of them were just logged out. This is a white oak, I believe, right here with the very flaky bark. Could be wrong on that, so someone correct me if I am. Want to keep that one there. And of course, there's more of those in here. And then right behind it, I believe this is a red oak, but just a young one, even though that's a white oak. Not just because of the bark on it, but because of the leaves that are left on it. Some other big oaks here. I'll probably leave these and just trim the branches higher up so we can get the tractor under them. There's a little tower here. I don't think it was ever used for hunting, but I can't speak to it really. Back in here, there is a sassafras tree. So it may not seem very impressive, but sassafras doesn't grow that fast, especially not at 3,000 feet above sea level or 2,500 feet above sea level. So this is a sassafras tree. It is a beautiful tree. It's kind of hard to see it, but it's beautiful. This is one of the last surviving of quite a big grouping of sassafras trees. Used to be a whole patch in here. So this one, it's not huge. You can kind of see, it's still a little guy, but this one's probably, I don't know, if I had to guess, I'd probably say 60 years old. It just hasn't grown very fast. I've got one laying down here. Let's see, I think it's this one here. Yeah. So I think this one, when it was cut down, was like 80 years old, 90 years old. It's quite an old tree. I can't remember how old it was, but so this is one. It's a little bit bigger. Of course, the actual base is over there, but this is a big one. And I don't even know how tall it was, but yeah, it's gone. Smells great still. And, pretty clear up in here. Up in here somewhere, there's that magnolia. I might take another video of that later, but it's a lot of walking to get to it. And there's a little pine there that we're letting grow in. There's a lot of different trees here. A lot of them are really pretty. I'll admit, I'm kind of just engrossed with these teeny tiny, fine branching blueberries and huckleberries. They have great bark too. I don't know if you can tell, probably in the light, but great bark. It's nice and flaky. Yeah. Beautiful trees. Another really big oak back here, leaning over the other property line, but they're tall. But you see trees like this used to be on the tree line and it leaned over to get light. Now it's not the healthiest tree, but it's hanging in there. We also had a kind of, I don't know what they called it, but like huge Arctic blast, heavy windstorm, and it laid down a lot of trees. Most of the trees that were down in the yard in front of the house got laid down during that time, and we lost them. So here's another oak that is just one-sided from being at the tree line and being as tall or taller than the trees behind it. So another thing I'm trying to avoid is one-sided trees like this. I'd really rather have them be a little more balanced. They're not falling down the hill, but they're reaching towards light. This is another example, just doing that. So I want to keep these lower branches up and, work that way. Little oak here, like its structure. I'll leave it right there. It's going to be inside. We're going to be putting a horse arena in this area here. Sorry, I was spinning fast. That's why we've got a little round there. These will stay, most of them, but some will come out, some more oaks. And they get pretty good taper from a young age for being, the spindly oak trees. They've all got bases already. This here's a beautiful nut tree. I think it's a pig nut hickory. And the top broke off of it, but it really is a nice tree. The split's nice and strong, even though it's a little low. It's a nice, strong split. I think there's at least one more hickory in here, but there's, that's a red maple. I think that's a cherry. There's another maple here. It's okay. I don't love where the split is on it. It's a little low, close to the ground. There's 3 of them, so it's real tight. So gonna have a lot of rot there, but it's got one broken off the top here. Otherwise, we'll leave it. There's a little gopher hole under that. But this, I've taken a lot of the bottom branches off this too. It's a beautiful, beautiful pig nut hickory. And then we got some more. I think these are blueberry, confirmed. And this is like one of the most remarkably, so this is a natural tree. We didn't do anything to it. We haven't been pruning it. It's not extremely tall. It's kind of small, but this thing has the most awesome base I've seen in a tree this small. And it's really hard to get the full effect without the snow, but if I leave my glove there, right, that's pretty big. If I put it up here at almost eye level, it's that's a lot of taper, which is really cool. We believe this is sitting right on top of our spring. So we have a spring that comes down through our field, wiggles around here. We've got a little, you can't see it now, there's a little depression there we've got lined with rocks, and it goes down past the whole property. So this is a spring. It does have clean drinking water. We don't drink from it. We drink from a well right now, but it's been used in the past. And this tree has just got immense taper. I mean, it almost tapers down 50% before it gets to eye level. It may be more. I might be wrong. It might be more than 50%. But yeah, that's almost twice as wide at the ground as it is at 5 feet up, which is really cool. Here we've got another cool one, and all throughout here, you see a lot of stakes. There is an awful lot of baby sassafras seedlings in here. We're trying to protect them and let them grow up. We got a lot of sassafras on the property, but like, see, these are some sassafras here, I believe, right there, right there. Trying to let them grow, see what happens. But this is a sassafras tree here that I think you can tell it goes and it fell. Oh, sorry, down here. It fell. So I've got it propped up on a maple log, and there's a maple tree that had fallen on top of it. So this tree is alive. It's sassafras. It's quite old. I don't know how old exactly. The maple tree I keep cutting back, but you know, maples will keep going. And these are some oaks I took off. Another oak sitting here. Again, this oak is probably about the same age as that one, but the taper on that is incredible, especially for how small it is. So that's one of 3 surviving big sassafras trees. We've got some smaller ones around. And this is the 3rd, and it's real wiggly through here. That's a sassafras. I've got to take there's a branch here that hangs over it from this oak. Again, I want to take that off, and maybe even the one up there. Actually, that may not be an oak. That might be a nut tree. Hard to say. Hard to say. I think that might be a nut tree. But I got to take that off. And there's, you know, pines shoved in there. I'd like to get those closer to the outside. I really want to get this as a healthy, sustainable forest. But we've affected this so much now, we got to get involved to get it healthier. Not a lot of exciting species up in there. We have our trail through there. There is the one blue magnolia up in there. But really, the star of the show for a lot of this is these sassafras. It's hard to get perspective. These are pretty old sassafras trees. And there used to be a whole lot of them in here, but it's really tough to find really old sassafras trees. I rarely see them as big as that. And I know they were used for lumber, and they can be very big, but keeping in mind that trees don't grow as fast here and they don't grow as big here. We have quite cold. It's, you know, well below freezing today. Climate. And some of these trees have looked the same for the entirety of my mom's life. It's like these leaning trees down here, those fork trees, we'll get to those. They've looked the same for the entire time that she has lived. Again, I'm 37. As old as my mom is, some of these trees have not changed their appearance other than being pruned in that entire time. They've been just as big. And they have not all been pruned. So it's a good example there. And an example here is this tree right here. It's kind of leaning across. You can see this is an apple tree. It's big. It's not been maintained or anything. It has not been here the entire time my mom's been alive. The climate's gotten warmer. So things that were big before the 60s, before the 50s, grew very, very slowly. Only in the last, 70 years has it warmed up enough here that we get enough growth to call it fast growth or even normal growth. At this elevation, with the temperatures we get, because we still don't have central air conditioning. We have a wood burning stove, but we don't have air conditioning in the house. It doesn't get that hot here. It stays pretty cool, and it gets really cold. So that's another beautiful apple. I've got to work on that one too. I've got that's a cherry that's bent over there. I've got to clear out. There's a nut tree I'd like to try to keep. I might try coppicing it, taking the top off and keeping it as a smaller outside tree. But I'd like to get that apple tree cleared out around and use it as a sort of, orchard tree tucked in there. Dead pine here. It's really sad. It's a little one, but it's dead. And lots of trees in here. Lots of dead trees. We planted some more of those Osage orange and those persimmon up in there. These are also apple. This one here fell this year. It's half of this tree, which is also an apple tree. Again, these are kind of younger. They were probably around, but just not noticeable as apple trees. And barberry, the bane of my existence in there. This whole patch behind it is Russian olive and barberry, so I'll be pulling some of those up. Maybe I'll get some of those to viewers or friends or whoever would like it. But there's a lot of clearing out to do on this property. So these are Russian olive here. They were given to people way back when by the Forest Service. So it's not that we wanted them here, but we were told they were the things to plant, and they are unfortunately very invasive. You can see some witch's brooms up in the trees here. That's where they have that microbe that causes Sarvis berry to get really fine branching. Another cool one, I don't remember which one it is in here, but one of these trees in here is an American elm, I believe. Could be wrong on that. And it's alive, barely. I think it might be this one right here. Actually, we could probably get close and see because it should still have those leaves on it. Let's see if this is it. Yeah, so this is, I believe, an American elm. And it is barely alive. From here up is all dead. But this thing's been hanging on. I mean, you can see right here, this is still alive. So hopefully, knock on wood, it is resistant to the issues that the American elm has. It's a big issue. I think that's all growth from around it, from something else, but it might be from the American elm. But hopefully this will help to get rid of the diseases we have in our area with these elm trees and the big tree next to it. This is a nice, we have a couple nice oaks in here. There's this one here that's, it's split down low. It's huge. Top keeps coming off of it's big. Another big one here. And our spring runs through, or the stream from the spring runs through here. So it's pretty understandable. Even this one here with see the top broke off it and is coming down. That's got a nice base on it. They get really nice bases up here. I know generally older trees get really good bases, but these get them fast. Big barberry. Yeah, you can just see, they almost look like a swamp cypress kind of thing. They get so thick. And let's get us over to the orchard here. This used to be a little bit more full of an orchard. Of course, over time, disease has gotten some of these and everything else. And in fact, there's a little post over there that used to be a pine tree. That one's gone. So this has been, this has looked the same as far as I remember. And looking at old pictures, it looks about the same. I did do a lot of pruning on this. It wasn't looking very good. They thought it wasn't going to make it. So I pruned it up. It does lean. But now it's got a much more compact canopy on it. And I'm going to work on getting the branching so there's not a lot of overlap or anything like that. I'm not trying to train this as a bonsai. Go over the fence here. But I am trying to train it so it's got good healthy growth. There we go. Sorry, that was a little bit of a noise. So it's leaning quite a bit. This was almost a bush. So it came all the way over like this. As long as I can remember, it came all the way past where this fence is. It was just laying on the ground with vines on it. So I took the top off it twice, took these side pieces off, took the front off. You can see there's a lot of cuts in here. Not all these are from me, but like these I cut off. This one here. And this is an old apple tree. This is a branch. But this one, this base, you can see. For an apple tree, that's a good size. I can't even tell how old. This is probably only like a 20-year-old branch there. Got this little one here that I was going to try to air layer off at some point, but just working on getting it so it's a little healthier. There's a lot of branches, shading out branches, a lot of dead stuff. Just got to work on that, but it's a pretty tree. It's going to get there. It's been doing pretty good. The apples aren't great yet, but we're still working on it. These ones here, took the one half of each of them off. You can see better here. These have looked exactly the same my entire life, and they look exactly the same in old photos too. The base on this is big enough that my foot's not even there. This is a big apple tree. And same with this one. It's got a beautiful base. They're orchard trees though. This one is split some. We put this in there so that the horses wouldn't get stuck. But that's another reason to cut it off. So cut off pretty low. This one will be cut off pretty low as well. I'm trying to get all this back budding. I'd like to start it off here, but I won't mess with this one this year. I'll cut this one off this year, and I'll cut it off probably here. So all this will come off, and that'll help to keep this from being so tall it falls over. This one, it's a little dead up there, but I cut it off right next to that dead bit. Again, gain all this back budding. And this one I'll probably cut off a little higher, but this is just a beautiful orchard tree. And again, not a small one. That's a big tree. A lot of these have been enormous my entire life. That one too, we'll get over to that one. This inside the fence is Sarvisberry. I got a cherry, which I think was marked to be cut down and wasn't. And this is just a beautiful white spruce up in here. Or maybe it's red. It's a red or a white spruce, but it's beautiful. Did clear out around the base there to get some more air to it, and it seems to have loved it. It looks healthier, even though it's not much bigger than last year. It looks very healthy. Keep our brush piles next to it and all that. But yeah, I'm really proud of these trees. These are old. Most of the apple trees I've seen in orchards when I go to apple picking and stuff like that are about this size, not the size of this base, which is just immense. There's a little one, different variety. It's probably just as old. It definitely needs some pruning, so I'll make a video about pruning this one up. It's been growing towards the sun, but it's got this growth back here that gives me encouragement. So we cut off everything on this side because it was all kind of breaking and rotten. This one too, but it's been healthy. The horses like to chew all this off, but I can leave these branches, keep them thick and strong, but I need to reduce some of my foliar mass on this. And again, this may not be very big, but keep in mind, this hasn't gotten any bigger in my entire life. It's been exactly the same size. So yeah, these will be shortened a little bit because it'll hang down to the ground. Once I get apples on this, this will come all the way down to the ground. I mean, easily. So I gotta cut that back. But this one was one that we didn't think was gonna make it, and it's doing okay. The new branches, when I say new branches, I mean these size was how big these were 2 years ago when we cut this back. I mean, this was the biggest branch on it kind of thing. It looked like a stump. So working on that. That's just another, it's too tall right now, but it's another massive one, just like these. Probably end up doing that one on a kind of slant because it's got a branch that's down low here. On the upper side, it's a little higher. This one I've done a little pruning on just to make sure things wouldn't completely touch the ground, but I've got to do a lot more pruning here. Twin trunk orchard tree, not quite as massive as those, but a different type of apple again. Again, you can see there's big differences in the bark between a lot of these trees. This one's different from that one, from these. They're all old varieties of apples, so whether or not that's intentional or just how they reproduced, I don't know. But there's a lot of apples in here. This one's got a good hollow in both sides. Right there. You can see how this is healed around it really nicely. Really old wood in there. I mean, you can't fake that. That's beautiful wood. Same thing down in here, although it's harder to see. So yeah, this one's getting trimmed up. Again, we're gonna try to keep it as a sort orchard tree. So if I can reach the lowest branches, which I can't, they're too low because we don't want all these horses to eat them and get sick. This is a crab apple. I used to have I think it was down here. It used to be a West Virginia state tree satellite dish. So this one literally just cut back to a stump. All this is new for this year. So I cut this back. The top of it wasn't very healthy, but this is a like crab apple. The berries that come off this are so small, they look like peas. And you would think it was a cherry, but this is an apple. Again, it's quite old. It hasn't even started to heal, from all these cuts I made. It's just got these going, but no healing really happened yet. So this one's got a long ways to go. But the horses have let it grow, so if it keeps this growth up, it'll be good. I had to take a whole half of it off. So this half of it was still on there, but it was rotted. So that came out. This is that pear. Beautiful, beautiful branching on it. The bigger pear, that is. This one has the real pears that you can eat. And the horses, of course, have helped with exfoliation. So this does not have any bark on it because the horses chewed it all off. You can see where it's starting to heal, this line, but they chewed almost all the bark off this thing. And nice old pear wood in there. That's old. That's not treated, it's just bleached from age. Yeah, so somehow this thing's still alive. It's still producing a lot of pears. I want to keep this low down branching from here down on this side. On this side, probably about the same height. And the whole top's going to come off this. As beautiful as it is, it's a little bit of a flight risk for us. Not flight risk, but it's a little dangerous with our horses. So you can see here's an old one that's healing still. I mean, they are quite old. They weren't big branches, but they're quite old. This one's just going to need some help healing. This one's already pruned back. It needs some maintenance pruning, but it's a good size. And that's the ancient pear, just the little, they're maybe this big around, super bitter, super dry. Can't eat them. But it's also got good branching. It grows a lot more vertical than this one. This one does have really nice, more mounded growth, which is cool. I just got to take advantage of it. So, and again, it's a big tree. If I stand up on it, you can see just how beautiful the bottom of this is. But that's a big tree. You can't help but appreciate that. And this one, I don't want to call it my showstopper, but sometimes I call it that. It is another cooking apple tree. It does grow very vertically, and I'm working on it. You can see this branch off to the right here, maybe. I've done some more pruning on it, but it has a lot more to be done. Still a lot on that, but I'm trying to get this thing so there's less crossing branches, another nice big long branch on it. In the summer when you're under here, you can't see sunlight because it's so dense. And I cut the whole top off of this a couple years back. Again, it's a nice sized tree. Kind of hard to get perspective, but nice size. And yeah, it's getting there. Lots of dead stuff still. I cleared it out, but it's recovered nicely. The issue I run into with it, it's got so much foliar mass, there's a little nest still in there, that it doesn't actually produce fruit because it gets so dried out. We got these really, really warm, you see how dense it is there. Really, really warm winters now. So it's gonna get up to like 55 Fahrenheit tomorrow, almost 12 degrees, 13 degrees centigrade. And it'll be tough to keep this one healthy. All right, I think I'm gonna end up doing a part 3 on this because there's a lot more trees to go through and I'm having fun.